shall we introduce ourselves while the defendant is busy hyperventilating? Sure, let's do that. Mr. McGundle, sir, the truth is, we travelled to the Great British Empire to London so that we could study the law, as law exchange students. And, if you have no attorney, if you'd like, maybe we could be of assistance. Well yes, haven't we been discussing that very favour? Stand by my side and you shall receive 1,000 guineas. He says that, but something feels strangely off about this. Okay, now he's back to normal. Oh yes, I understand. Huh? Perhaps this is what you're thinking right now. This fishy Briton won't stop bragging about all of his money. If he has so much money, why doesn't he have a competent defence lawyer? Naturally, this suspicious Briton is, without a doubt, guilty. Isn't that right? Well, you see, you saw right through me. No way. No, not at all. It's just, in all honesty, the question of why you have no lawyer is really weighing on my mind. It's because of the bringer of death, the Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey. What? The Grim Reaper? Seriously? That is the name of the press has given to Lord Baron Van Zeeks, and he is this trial's prosecutor. Oh, I know who this guy is, I think. Does the prosecutor really kill people? For those he prosecutes, they say, the Reaper has come to collect his due. And so, to this day, in the court of the Deathbringer, the number of defendants who have lived is 0. He's never lost a case, of course. It's always the same. Never lost a case. Not a single one. What are you saying? Then suddenly, no lawyer remained who would be willing to stand up against the Grim Reaper himself. It would be appropriate to call him a legend of the Old Bailey, I'd wager. Lord Barrack Van Zeets. He must be a truly outstanding prosecutor. He's got a pretty cool desk slam, that I will admit. No, that's not quite right. Perhaps it would be more accurate to say that he is cursed instead. Cursed? What exactly does that mean? Defendant and his attorney as well. It is time for the trial to begin. Make your way to the Crown Court at once. The attorney? They mean me. Well, yeah. The time finally approaches. Well now, I will be counting on you. Huh? But I don't even know anything about the case. On top of that, Mr. McGundle, we haven't even finished talking. Until the moment you two arrived, I had been prepared for the worst. Huh? Without an attorney, I knew I would have to defend myself all alone. Standing as your own attorney. But then, you appeared before me. What's more, you were a scholar of law. This cannot be a coincidence. One might even call it fate. I beg of you, please do not abandon me. Why would we? Even now, I don't know a single thing about the case or the defendant. But I do know one thing. Right now, I can't turn my back and leave this man behind. Hell yeah. Naruhodo? He would stand and be judged in court without a weapon to fend for himself. I'm sure Asugi would be the first to jump to his aid. Attorney, what are you doing? If you don't arrive in the Crown Court in time, you will not be allowed in the courtroom. Best get a finger out then. Understood. We'll be there immediately. So will Susato be with us as well or not? This is where it begins. My first trial in the Great British Empire. Asugi, watch me. Watch just what I can accomplish now. To be continued. Yeah? No? Cutscene? Cutscene! Ah, not quite a cutscene. What the hell? Old Bailey, Crown Court. Wait, what? Why are there six? Hold the whoa, whoa. What's happened? Where's the judge? I'm confused. Is there no judge? So this is the Crown Court of the British Empire. The Old Bailey itself. Unlike the courts of Japan, I can feel the weight of this court's history. The melancholy about this room says more than words ever could. No matter where you travel, the feelings never differ when a man's fate hangs in the balance. Why are there 6 people? By the way, Naruhodo, might I ask you something? Yes, what is it? Tutorial? Oh god, he's shifty-eyed again. Your eyes are darting all about the room again, just like before. There's not much I can really do about that. Oh, there's a judge. There he is! Ooh! Wait, so we have a judge? What's with the 6 people? I'm so confused. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, we declare this court is now in session. The trial of Cosney McGundle will now commence. I ask you, prosecution and defence, have you fully prepared your cases? The prosecution is ready. He looks like a vampire. He must be the Grim Reaper of the Old Bailey. I can certainly feel a dark aura, as if he really could reap someone's life. You, Japanese attorney, do you have trouble understanding English? Sorry. I just wasn't focused. We're wearing the sword. I'm being asked if my argument is ready right now, but I'm not exactly in any situation to say we're ready. I like that expression of yours, Japanese boy. Wow. What a dick. Trepidation, fear, unease, as you desperately stifle those emotions. You cling to your false illusion of courage to face me. It is an expression of recklessness. Quite fitting for one whose fate is already sealed. Has he got a sword too? Pretty sure he does. Ugh, I'm so tense, my limbs are starting to feel numb. Defendant, Cosney McGundle. Yes. You are on trial and suspected of murder. If you are declared guilty, you will be put to death. You'll be leaving such an important trial to a Japanese man? Are you absolutely sure? No one else would take his case. I've always believed that we must give opportunity to the young, you see. Even if the young in this case are 2 exchange students from a tiny eastern nation. I must have the courage to boldly entrust my fate to the weak without fear. It sounded like an insult. That is precisely what our proud Great British Empire's chivalrous spirit is all about. That's how Mr. McGundle, our London celebrity, is truly a broad-minded man. I heard that man donated £5,000 to the government recently. We're going to playing McGundle Park. It appears our good audience supports Mr. McGundle. That does help our case greatly. He really has a way with words, doesn't he? But even then, nobody else would stand alongside him as his defence. Which is fishy, you must admit. Very well. Oh, very well, defendant, you have an admirable outlook. And now... Are you all prepared as well? Oh! Sensible citizens chosen by the capital city. Oh, the jury! Okay! Oh, that's weird. I've been long ready to hand down punishment to evil scoundrels. Allow me to dispose of the rubbish, as per my master's orders. So they don't actually have names, it's just juror. Bad luck for you guys to run into us. What the hell? I thought you were gonna slap him then. It's cold in here. No, yes, dearie. Quite prepared. Just knitting these mittens for my grandchild. What the... Oh my god. Naruhodo, these people must be... the jurors. We don't have the system in Japan, nor in any of the other Ace Attorney games. Yes, indeed. Tutorial, please! In the Great British Empire's courts, a verdict is decided by the judge and these 6 jurors. The judge decides purely on the law, the jurors decide based on their consensus. Judgment is passed on the defendant based on these 2 points of view. But how do the jurors render a verdict to begin with? Well, I'm sure that will naturally come to light as we proceed through this trial. Yeah, naturally. Lord Baruch Van Zieks. I keep wanting to call him Von Zieks. Yes, my lord? How many years has it been since you cast aside the courtroom, and your prestige with it? Is the title of Grim Reaper truly worth being called prestige? But alas, I believe it has been 5 years. And yet you have returned to stand at the prosecutor's bench once again. Is there something you're anticipating from this trial? I will leave that to your imagination, my lord. God, he's emitting some serious Edgeworth vibes. This brooding Grim Reaper fellow casts aside the court for 5 years, returning as a legend. Why? Just why did his revival have to be today of all days? What did she say? Naruhodo, don't hang your head like that. I don't remember what she said. Oh, she didn't say anything, I guess. The court welcomes your return. Now I must request your opening statements regarding this case. Acknowledged. As you all know, this case couldn't be more trivial. As we all know, except for the defense. The incident transpired 3 days ago, at around 10 PM. Ooh. The victim is Thrice Fired Mortar, a bricklayer by trade. Thrice fired? Yeah, 3 times fired. A skilled man indeed. I've heard that the bricks he fired have never broken. Oh! Wow! The victim was found dead in an omnibus mid-transit. It is believed that the cause of death is a stab wound from a large knife. Here is the autopsy report from the yard's forensics doctors. Very well. The court will accept it as evidence. Autopsy. Report from the coroner. Death was caused by a knife wound to the gut. Only 1 entry wound. Cause of death was internal bleeding. Crime scene photograph has been filed in the court record. Taken inside the omnibus where the crime took place. A knife is stabbed in the victim's gut. His hat is bent, covering his face. There is one more. I wish to present this evidence as well. Looks like gloves with blood on them. Why, this is... blood! These are stained with blood. Exactly. When the police arrived at the scene, the defendant was found wearing those very gloves at the time of arrest. Oh dear. What? There was blood on Mr. McGundle's gloves? The court will accept these as crucial pieces of evidence. So defendant's gloves. Leather gloves the defendant was wearing when the crime occurred. There's a blood stain on the right hand. Oh dear. Seriously? We're being driven into a corner from the very start again. Let's continue. According to the coachman's testimony, when the incident occurred, there were only 2 guests within the coach. Only 2? Yes, I'm guessing Mortar and McGundle. would be my guess. Clearly one of them was the deceased bricklayer Mr. Mortar. The other was McGundle. And the only other person was... the defendant, Cosney McGundle. Yes, that certainly is rather decisive. Do you have anything to say, defendant? Yes, of course. I truly have no memory of having done anything of the sort. Mr. McGundle. Indeed, I did ride that omnibus on the night of the murder. Whenever I ride in a coach, I always end up falling asleep. So you mean to claim that you were sleeping? The swaying of the coach puts me at ease, you see. When I opened my eyes, the cold body of a stranger lay before me. It's human nature to try and help someone fallen before you, don't you think? So I reached out my hands to him, paying no mind to the blood that would stain my gloves. So that must have been when those gloves were stained. I regret to say this, but the facts that point to the celebrity's guilt do not end there. What? There's still more evidence? When the bricklayer was stabbed by the murder weapon, the moment of his death was seen by multiple witnesses. Well, that's the other jurors. Okay, they still have the same lines. Order, order, order in the court. Ah, shit. When the incident transpired, only the victim and the defendant were in the coach. Not only that, but when the crime was committed, multiple witnesses were present. This is no longer just decisive. One would call this evidence lethal. I understand the situation quite well. We should first listen to the witnesses who saw the incident unfold. As you wish. Now bring forth the witnesses. So it's multiple. Okay. Oh god. Oh! 3 people? Oh my god, that guy's hat keeps falling off. You may begin, witnesses. State your names and occupations. I am, everyone calls me Beppo. Yes. Why is he so cold? I work as a coachman driving an omnibus in the East End. Oscar Fairplay. I work as a bank clerk in the city. Madam Ladyfirst. I'm a milliner. I make hats for men. Not very good uns. Yours can't even stay on your bloody head. Silly. First, allow me to verify. Around 10 PM 3 days ago, all of you were witnesses to the incident that transpired in the omnibus during transit. Is that correct? Yes. Indeed. Uh-huh. But of course. Okay. Then we shall move on. I order you to testify. Speak the truth of what you saw during this incident. Alright. Witness testimony. Ooh, that's fancy. What we witnessed. It was the last trip of that night. There were few passengers, so I remember it well. The defendant and the victim were both sitting within the coach. But then, the defendant suddenly stabbed him in the gut with a knife. Yes, he was indeed stabbed in the gut. I ended up screaming in shock. Astonished by that scream, I stopped the horses, and then I saw it too. Is that... really? That's the statement. Alright. Truly a clear testimony. You are correct, clear is an apt word. For the incident which unfolded in that omnibus was seen quite clearly by these witnesses. Excuse me, may I say something? What is it? It's about this testimony. To be honest, I'm having difficulty wrapping my head around how anything about it is clear. Whatever do you mean? This incident occurred within a moving omnibus, correct? Yes, surely that point has been made abundantly clear by now. Then... Just how exactly did these two witnesses happen to see the crime unfolding? It's a moving coach. They couldn't possibly have seen what happened inside. Good grief. Oh wow. What a way to be a dick. I'd heard stories claiming the culture of this oriental island was quite behind the times, but it is rather incredible for you to be this ignorant of the omnibuses running through London. Huh? I have to ask, Japanese boy, have you ever boarded an omnibus? I have not. I mean, after all, we just arrived in London this morning. Very well. You would do well to look upon it with your own eyes, the very scene of the incident. What do you mean, sir? The very scene of the incident? A horse-drawn coach is able to move. I suppose you should understand that much at least. Well, yes. For this trial, we had the omnibus moved into the Old Bailey. What? Okay. The omnibus was brought here? Bailiff? Bring in the omnibus. What the hell? How is this going to help with anything? Oh, is it because it's got windows? I'm guessing because it's got windows. So, this is the omnibus. I can't believe they brought the omnibus in. The British courts really are something else. Crazy. Oh, I see. Yes, with 2 benches mounted to the top, this coach can transport 8 passengers at most. Four individuals can be seated in the interior. Similarly, there are 4 seats on the roof. If London sightseeing is your desire, then ride up on the roof seats on the omnibus. Any child of London would tell you this. Incidentally, there's a window. With the skylight present on the roof, one may choose to peer into the interior of the coach. Didn't they state that there was only 2 people on board, though? From the skylight. Ooh. So the truth finally becomes clear to you, too. At the time of the incident, these 2 witnesses were seated on the roof seats of the omnibus. It was from there that they witnessed the incident within the coach. They saw it through the skylight of the omnibus. Do you understand now? So that's what was going on. Even so, I've never heard of the scene of the crime itself presented as evidence. The vestiges of the crime committed within the omnibus are still clear. Thus, it should be presented as evidence. That is the prosecution's official stance. Very well. Given its present state, we shall accept the scene as evidence. The omnibus. Alright. So at the crime scene, an omnibus that seats 8 passengers. There are 4 seats inside and 4 on the roof. Alright. I can't believe it. The murder scene itself has become evidence. Pretty crazy. Wow, the Great British Empire never fails to impress. Either way, we should take this chance to inspect the omnibus inside and out. As for you, attorney, I order you to carry out your cross-examination. As if there's anything to be anticipated from a British cross-examination by a Japanese person. Oh, dick! This is my first cross-examination in a British courthouse. It's time to muster up all of your resolve, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Quite surprised nobody said, why did you just slap yourself? Ooh, it's like a Pokemon battle. Again. What we witnessed. So, Beppo... Oh, he didn't say there was only 2, he said there were few. Shit. Last trip of the night, there were few passengers, so I remember it well. Mata! As I recall, it was around 10 PM, correct? Oh, I can actually shift. Yes, yes. Just so, yes, it was a deathly freezing cold night, yes. From what we know, there were 4 passengers. Is there no mistake in that? Yes, they were all picked up from different locations, however, yes. Would we be correct in assuming there were no passengers who got off midway? Yes, yes, it is as you say, no one got off, yes. So that means there wasn't anyone who ran from the omnibus after the crime occurred. Yes, well, I'm under orders from the boss to make the final trip every night. Aw. Little old me always wondered if there was any point in making that trip, yes. What do you mean? Shivering in that dreadful cold, I earned but 20 pence in carrying out the final trip, you see. All of it would vanish after stopping by just to warm up in a pub on the way home, yes? Oh dear. 20 pence? The defendant and the victim were both sitting within the coach. Oh, Mata in all over the place. Did you see that from the coach's skylight? I did indeed. Yes, when you sit on the roof, the skylight sits right at your feet. Yeah, we've been over this, we know. There was a lamp inside the coach, which was what allowed me to see inside. Because both of them were wearing hats, I was unable to make out their faces. Regardless, I have no doubt that one of them was Mr. McGundle. That doesn't look like him though, he wears a purple jacket. What makes you so sure about that? Mr. McGundle is, well, a gentleman of quite a short stature. It would certainly be most difficult for me to mistake him for someone else. And indeed, when the horses were stopped and the coach doors were opened, only the deceased victim and the defendant, Cosney McGundle, remained inside. There is no room for argument. Well, that cleared that up. But then the defendant stabbed him in the gut with a knife. So you witnessed that very instant? Well, no, but as I had said, all of it was aptly explained in my testimony. What the hell? Point that at me again and I'll tell you where you can stick it. Or perhaps, you were saying you have a bone to pick with my words. With me, a bank clerk? Okay, very odd thing to say. No, that wasn't my intention at all. Calm your tits, Jesus. Oops, he's completely fuming at me. Witness, I would like to hear a bit more about what you saw. Oh my lord. Ah, Juror 3, what is the matter? I've made up my mind. Now that everyone's said their piece, I'm going with my gut here. What do you mean, sir? I've always hated the rich folk, you see. I'm sure those clots are doing shady dealings under the table somehow. Oh! That tiny old man is the culprit, understand? You can't pull the wool over my eyes. Oh my god, that's how this works. Oh, that's badass. Can they change? So like, if Juror 3 has said the man, he's the culprit, like the defendant is the culprit, and he's, you know, submitted his vote, it's cast it to the left-hand side, can he, like, change his vote? Or, like, you know, do another one into the right side, if evidence came to be that, you know, went against McGundle? I don't think there's any point in waiting through this little discussion any longer. Ditto for me, I was just about to say that. Oh god. Are you kidding? We as jurors have the duty to pass down correct judgment onto everyone. Jesus. What on earth just happened? It appears to be the jurors' verdict. Their verdict already? White means not guilty, black is guilty. As each juror reaches his or her own conclusion, the weight of their verdict is added to the scale, as you have just seen, and is set aflame. So then, if that colossal scale were to completely tip towards black, let's do our absolute best to prevent that from happening. Oh dear. Oh no. Now I'm more nervous than ever. Let's all note that the juror's verdict has changed. Now,